I feel disrespected by Fort Lewis and by the chain of command up there.
A former National Guard soldier who received a Purple Heart is now getting bills for thousands of dollars.
And they're coming from the military. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lauren Allison in for Jennifer Winters.
I'm David Walker. Thanks for joining us on this Friday night. A former Oregon National Guard soldier who was shot while on patrol in Iraq never imagined he'd have to fight the military when he got home.
Gary Fleiter II is being billed for military-issued equipment he believes was lost after he was flown out of the country for medical treatment. KVAL's Laura Rios joins us now with more.
Well, guys, Gary Fleiter II tells me that he has been trying to get this straightened out since late 2008, 2009, and he's worried that his case is lost in a pile of paperwork between Oregon and Washington. Gary Fleiter II is a member of the new generation of disabled veterans. He joined the Oregon National Guard after September 11th, 2001. 6 years later, in September 2007, a sniper in Iraq shot him.
This is the entry here, and this was the exit.
Fleiter will wear this brace for the rest of his life, a permanent reminder of an event he barely remembers.
I remember grabbing a hold of my leg and pulling my hands out and realizing that I had blood on my hands. And then from that point on until I got loaded onto the Stryker was just a big blur.
Fleiter received a Purple Heart 3 days after he was shot. And almost 2 years later, he got this bill from the military for missing equipment. The total, including interest, $3,175. This is a list of the gear issued to Fleiter that was missing when his unit came back in 2008, the year after he was shot. It's things like clothing, canteens, grenades. Fleiter says he lost sight of this gear when he left Iraq and shouldn't be responsible for it now. But the federal government is taking money from his disability check each month, and he says they froze his tax returns to pay for it. I called the Oregon National Guard. Captain Stephen Bomar told me the charges come from Joint Base Lewis McChord in Washington State, where Fleiter spent 1 year recovering from his injury. He says it is customary for soldiers in similar situations to be billed for missing equipment.
Well, you know, it is one of the processes. That way we can keep good accountability for all the equipment.
Bomar said Fleiter should submit a sworn statement explaining his situation to be reimbursed. Fleiter gave me a copy of this sworn statement he signed at the Albany, Oregon Armory in February of this year, but the federal government has continued to take money out of his disability checks. Is it possible in this case that there's just some paperwork that wasn't filed correctly?
You know, I think it could be on our part on this one, or it could be on the soldier's part, and that's one of the things that they're going to take a look at.
Honestly, I do. I think it's just sitting there on somebody's desk at Fort Lewis, and they just don't want to mess with it because they don't feel that it's a big enough issue.
To them, it's a stack of papers, but to you, it's...
To me, it's my livelihood.
Fleiter is frustrated with it all. He just wants to focus on his upcoming 9th leg surgery and adjusting to life after war.
A car going down the road backfiring, it sends me back into those flashbacks of being over there. But I deal with it because I know it's part of my life that's never going to leave.
Captain Bomar with the National Guard tells me if the charges are erroneous, Fleiter will get his money back and will stop being billed. But if not, he will still have to pay. I also called Joint Base Lewis McChord yesterday. As of today, they said they are still investigating and didn't have answers beyond that. We'll keep asking and keep you posted on how this story develops. I'm Laura Rios, KVAL News.
Okay, thank you, Laura. We first heard about this story from our tip line. If you have a news story to share, we want to hear it. Call the KVAL tip line at 541-685-KVAL.